Okay, how about now? Oh wait, it's not loaded yet. Oh no, I signed off and signed back on. Okay, so Angie's first, and then it's Jenny. All right, and so if you need to take a break or something, yeah. So let's see, Angie, we're gonna start. So is it lagging or do you hear it clear now? You let me know. You let me know if it should be clear. Everything should be just should be strong and connected. At least on my end, it looks that way. Oh, okay, no problem. It's okay right now? No lag? Okay, great. All right. So what I was asking was, before I dive in to the what's his deal reading, is there anything specific bothering you or anything that you want to address, or you want me to just jump in? I don't know if you heard what I said the first time. I don't know if, because I was cutting in and out, you said. All right, so the beginning of the reading shows that you spoke to him, or maybe that, give me 1 second. Angie is asking, you wanted to know if he was a victim of, so I cannot address those questions. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's against policy, because they, it's those are safety. So anything safety and medical, yeah, and anything that's psychological, safety, medical, is not allowed. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, so it shows here that you might have spoken to him for his birthday, or maybe that's your intention. I think you said he was having a birthday, but this talks about breaking the barrier of communication. Maybe him letting you know that he was busy or something. I always get a lag on here, like not a lag, but like when I go to see what you guys are saying, it's a little bit slow. Yeah. Yeah, so the reading is opening up. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask so many questions that you need to type, so you don't have to be frustrated anyway. This is pretty much, I give the information and you just note it or whatever. But sometimes I like to interact. Anyway, the beginning of the reading is showing me that. That's why I said that, because it does show that, because I think that the last time you and I spoke, from what I remember, I think you were going to try the silent tactic, but I forget the details, but it shows here that, that changed. But I do see that he is very intensely working and, still with a wall up. Okay. All right. Now let's keep going. All right. So this is bringing up some kind of spiritual stuff. So, you know, some people call it magic. This could be, you know, I don't know if you maybe paid someone for a candle, or, you know, maybe it was you that tried something spiritual, maybe like a love spell, or maybe something that was for him to call you, or whatever. But this shows that there was probably some remuneration, you know, to get him to call. Have you done this yet, or is this something that you're? Because this is showing up, so this means maybe this might be your next step, or maybe this might be something that you are. Oh, hey, wait, what's the name? Jasso? Wait, I can't, it's so tiny. Zhao. Hi, how are you? I'm doing a paid reading. You're more than welcome to book one. I do free yes and no on the stream. Okay, so we have to figure out where this is coming from, because this is in the reading. Now, if you told your woes to someone who is magically inclined, it could have been someone that, you know, maybe wanted to do that for you. Maybe they were upset at that. Maybe a friend dabbles in that, or maybe they see that on social media and they were inspired. Let me see where it's coming from, okay? Because this is definitely very clear. We'll figure it out, okay? We'll see what this is about. Yeah. So again, this is something spiritual. So this is exactly what I said. This is when so, you know, one time I was telling someone, and they thought that the word magic was evil or something, and it ended up being that, you know, they did something spiritual. Okay, so is there anything that, so some people, sometimes it's not, sometimes they don't recognize. So did you ever have a love candle done, or something where they told you it was for good luck? You know, like for example, candles, or maybe you told a friend about something. This, let me tell you what it is straight up. Take it or leave it. This is accurate. I just, you know, this is that there was something magically done, spiritually done, where it was to, sometimes people call it manifesting. Oh no, it was a manifestation thing that I did. It was an incense, or it was a candle. No, it was to influence. This is talking about someone that does magical things was paid. So that means that either a friend is pissed off that he's doing this to you, and maybe they dabble in that. Maybe they practice and they did a little something for you. Do you have magical friends? Let me find out if it was a friend. Yeah, so it's talking about a friend. Okay. Okay. So that, okay. Yeah. Yeah. And also, do you have any magical friends? Okay. So let me explain something to you. And here's where I don't want to get into this. I'd rather just do the reading and continue to tell you about him and make my life easier. But I'm going to tell you what that's about. You would think it's 2 matches that somebody lights and that's it. Okay. Number 1, if you're going to read fire, which I do, there's 2 ways to do it. It's a form of divination. It's called pyrography. And you can read flames, and you can also read the pictures formed by flame on a surface. Okay, so let's say that a client is going to do a reading for me and I'm going to perform pyrography. I'm going to take like a surface, maybe a plank of wood or paper, and as the diviner, as they set the intention for the question, I'm going to hold it over the flame and flip it over, and the markings on the surface will tell me something, like a message. When you, so divination with flames is pyrography, and that is a very different thing. What they're doing by lighting 2 flames is just to make money, but the thing is that they're burning something that has, with their ancestors and their spirit guides or their deities or whoever they work with, which I don't know, I don't care. They're telling you that wherever the flame moves is what's going to happen with the person. If it burns like this and like this, it's just hogwash. Flames moving this way and that way don't really, it doesn't work that way. Now you can actually interpret the direction of flame like you can a pendulum, and that would be scrying with fire. And that is a form of divination, where you are centering the energy and there's a candle that's lit, and based on the flame direction, it can communicate kind of like a Ouija board, which is spirits communicating, which is exactly what speaks through cards, stones, bones, paper clips, rods. That's exactly what you're doing. You're speaking to the diviner, is speaking to a spirit team or their deity or wherever, whatever they work with. So I'm just teaching you that. So when you pay for a flame moving this way or that way, it doesn't tell you what's going to happen with the relationship. Now, if they tell you that they're going to perform a ritual with the flames, so it's going to be to help you connect together, then they're performing a spell with their team. And that means that you have now paid for magic. That means that whatever energy that person has is going to, whatever energy that person has, hang on 1 second. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you that a match reading is not really a reading. You're doing it. So if you're going to read flames, that's not how you do it. What they're doing is a ritual. What you're paying for is a ritual, and that person's blessing it. They're just telling you it's a reading. The result of the reading is supposed to tell you the future. If they're basing it on what's going to happen because of the flames moving, I'm just trying to tell you how to dissect it. Like look at what if I tell you something is sugar free and the label says it's healthy, and then you turn it to the ingredients and it says fake names for sugar, it's not sugar free. So I'm just trying to tell you how to really look at what you're purchasing. I picked up on the fact that it invaded the energy. Why is it that I pick up on this now and not another time? Because we looked at the relationship as a whole. Now I'm looking at his energy more direct. This reading is more direct. So it picked up on the fact that there was communication. That was the way the reading opened. And the fact that there was something that was, if the relationship energy was calm as a lake, the match ritual put a pebble and caused a ripple, and I saw the ripple. Okay, so that understand what I'm getting at. I'm not reading his feelings yet. I'm not reading your feelings. I'm not reading on the path the relationship is going to take. I'm breaking the ice by seeing what's going on between both of you. There's communication, and there's been a disruption in the ether. Okay, so that's what that's about. Let's keep going. Okay. So now we're getting into, now we're really getting into his feelings. It's not relationship based. This lets me know that the most prominent feeling I'm picking up on of his is about his life. I'm going to describe what's going on. And it's not about you guys. You know what that lets me know? That lets me know that the current's running a little bit cold with him. Because if he missed kissing you, or he missed talking to you, or he's upset or something, that means there's a detachment. That's not a good sign so far. Let me tell you what comes up. This tells me that he is pissed off and resentful for something that happened to him. Maybe he got a ticket. Maybe he got a fine. Maybe there was something that was unfair done to him. Because this is someone who is trying to learn how to defend himself, and he can't. He doesn't know how. So this indicates that he either got a ticket for something or a fine, or he got in trouble for something that wasn't fair to him. Maybe it was at work. He was reprimanded in some way, scolded even. And this is him trying to figure out, you know, how do I beat this? How do I clean this? How do I fix it? This is not fair. I'm gonna find out what do I need to do. I'm pissed off. So that means something bad happened to him, like that. And this is his first emotion. In a reading that's calling the love connection, that should not be the case. So this means there's a distance. Okay. Okay, so this talks about you reaching out to him at the wrong time. So this is this is very good actually, because this means that, you know, it's there's nothing soured between both of you long term, ruining anything. It's there's a timing that's off. So he's in a crappy time right now. This is clearly saying it. I don't know how much you know about his life. What did you say? Okay. So it's talking about timing being really bad when you said that. Because the effect that you wanted to have on him, it reached him in a really, really tough spot. Whereas if you would have done it at the right time, it would have emotionally jabbed him where it needed to be, because he does care. It's just that there's a lot more going on with him. Yeah. So that indicates that's what happened. Let me see something. Okay. So this is a tough one, because the what he truly feels deep inside is because he feels that you don't understand him. I get that he's not fully in love with you yet. You know, I get that he's not in love with you. He's in this like, you know, it's like we spoke about that, like you deserve a lot more, but there's something still. I guess it's like one of those situations that are delicate. It's how it's handled. You know, you gotta like baby steps in the right direction, but you made your choice. You know, I can see that. It did close the door, which, you know, I guess overall that's what you wanted. You know, when you thought about it, you know, because I am seeing that he feels that he's that you don't understand him. So it comes from when a person feels someone that's very emotional, which you're not. You make a lot of sense in how you are, but to him, it's like this demand of response that he's not ready. And when the foot is put down, it's almost like, okay, you don't want to wait, but okay, fine then. I can't give you what you want right now. I don't want you to do that, but you did it, so I'm not going to stop you. Like, I can't do what you want right now. No, I can't. So it's the time game. I don't see him coming after you. Not in this gameplay, you know. Let me see. All right. So it's a little bit complicated. Let me just read this sequence a minute, and then, you know. Okay, so when it comes to you know, this is explaining that in you know, from here on out in the near future, you know, as of like whenever you did this, and, you know, a couple of weeks, whatever, month or so, you know, this talks about you having a difficult time working, like at your job, whatever it is that you do. So if you're a student, it would be studying, and if it's working for pay, then it would be at your vocation, or profession if you're already a professional. So this is when a person is having a very hard time at their job because their concentration, their emotions, they're sad, they're stressed out, and they can't focus on other stuff in their life. All right, so this means that there's going to be a really bad phase coming up for you on an emotional level. People can be pissed off and close the door, and then they're pumped up, but then there's a time when a person, you know, is kind of like really sad and is not, it's like kind of like really yearning for the connection, and there's none there. So this talks about a little sad phase coming up for you, and it kind of comes from, you know, giving a reaction that doesn't give you the result that you wanted. So there's a frustration there. It also talks about you being very unaware of things surrounding you because you're so tuned into your love zone, you know, with stuff you're thinking about, that it talks about you missing maybe other things because that's consuming your thoughts, your energy. All right, so this is explaining what it's going to be like a bit. All right, let's see. Okay. All right. One more thing, okay? Give me 1 second. All right. Okay. So, let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, okay? You said no, I don't want him to come. At least not until being part of a Okay, so here's the situation. Let's go over everything, okay? I don't remember the exact reading, but when I met you a short time ago, I remember, we looked into the love situation, and I believe that correct me if I'm wrong, I gathered that he's not in love with you, but there is, there was this like breathing room that you should not cut things off, mainly because you weren't ready, but also because there's also could be one of the ways destiny can play out in this scenario was because he could come around. It wasn't completely cut and done, but it depended on how it's handled, I guess, but it was draining you anyway. So it was complicated, and we kind of looked into different things. Overall, cutting it off and, was recommended that you don't, but I could see that you did, which, it's your prerogative, so no judgment. It was just when I saw that you shouldn't, because I remember you approached me saying, should you just cut things off and that's it, because you were very upset, of course. And I said, no, you shouldn't. You should handle it different. But now that was done, things now have a different path that was carved. So let's look at that a minute, okay? So I see that he feels, first of all, what went wrong was bad timing, and then, he feels you don't understand him. So that's like a whole thing. You're going to go through a phase where you have a tough time with the decision because there's a lot of feelings there. Let's talk about something coming up. There's a woman that's going to be his girlfriend. They have not met. This, I don't know if that was one of the things that came up in the read before, that it wasn't going to be, or maybe like you can prevent it or something. I don't remember because I do so many readings. I don't remember, but this is something that is going to occur. And you would find out about it because this talks about you having a very big internal turmoil, you know, because of it. And it does show good luck here with you pursuing the path with a new love. So this is very healthy for you if you pursue it. But here's the thing. If you're interested and you're in love with this man, see, let's look at two sides of this. The best thing for you to do now that because you have your emotions, destiny is character and character is destiny. You know, destiny is the way it is for each one of us because of our character, but at the same time, our character also shaped the result. So handle your life for 1 week like, say, your mother would, and you're going to get different results. If she handles her life the way a sibling does, she's going to get different results, and so on and so forth. Like, we are our destiny because of how we are, but it's also the other way around. So it's like one of those, which came before, chicken or the egg kind of thing. It begs the question, but it is impactful. So all I'm saying to you is you're going to be you, and your life is going to unfold because you are you. But you can also go against some of the things that, you know, against your own nature, and you're going to see a different result. It's going to be uncomfortable. Like if you're a person with a high temper and you start being really peaceful and you hate it, you're going to start seeing a result, you know, things like that. If you're soft-spoken and you end up finding your voice, you're going to start seeing results. So like that. And why I mean that is because, you know, in this relationship with this guy, it started off wrong. Why? Because there were no boundaries, right? But you can't go backwards. You can only move forward. So that's the irony of the situation. He's not entirely not capable of falling in love with you. It's just that he has not done so. If the door were completely closed, and I would say, like I said before, that I couldn't see, you know, there's no way he's going to see you that way, I would have told you right away. There's a small chance that he would, right? But we are where we are, right? So let's move forward. I do see this woman crossing his path, and I do see a relationship. Now it's going to piss you off because obviously he reacted with her faster. But I'll tell you, the issue with you also changed the way he thought. Believe it or not. The way that things unfolded with you made him worried that he'd relive that. So that's kind of strange. You reacted the way you did because he wasn't fast enough in what he was doing. He didn't initiate enough. But at the same time, you didn't wait. So now he thinks another woman's not going to wait. So you carved the path for the next person to have an easier time. It's kind of ironic and not good, but it's there. Now, the best thing is for you to find a new path, a new love. It will bring you a lot of happiness, and you're gonna, you know, learn from the mistakes of no boundaries and move forward. But, and here's the big but, if you really are in love with him and you don't want to move on, I'm gonna see if maybe sweetening, you know, the relationship with you and him magically is possible. If it's going to mess with your future destiny, then I won't touch it. But if it's something that can help and you take it from there once you guys speak again, then I can do that. But I would have to check how, you know, if that's possible. But the best thing for you to do is to move on. But if you feel that you can't, we can look, because the thing with this, the connection with this man was never really gone. It just wasn't what it needed to be when it needed to be. So that's how I see this reading. Drastic, hard stuff emotionally. Mainly, it's a hard emotional ride for you. I see what you mean by being entangled with many people. Yeah. Virgo men are usually very, I don't know if is he a Virgo? I forgot. I do a lot. Lately, a lot of people have wanted readings on Virgos. I don't know, 3 months ago, everybody was in love with a Pisces, and now everybody's in love with a Virgo, so it's kind of funny. But if he is, you usually have a lot, they're very codependent with friends. So you'll always see Virgos, Virgo men, turning to different friends, and they kind of need that for some reason. They don't like stand on their own 2 feet. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you felt you needed to end it. Okay. So I just want to go over something really clear. You know that when people get readings, it's just a tool. I'm not here to boss anybody around. I'm not here to, I boss my regulars around because I've known them for years and they know that when I say something is to help them. But I don't treat people that way. It's a reading and you just take the information. But if we were to go back, I remember saying, I don't think you should close the door. And the reason that I said that was to prevent this outcome. Because I did see that he was going to come around. But I think it took technique and patience. And if you didn't want that, it's your time in life. It's not, nobody has the right to say, oh, well, waste your time on this guy. No, it's your time. You were tired. At the end, it's better that you go with a new direction. But since I was hired to look into this connection, I looked at what can hurt it and what can pamper it. And definitely the route of cutting it off was not going to give you that result. So in a way, as long as you feel empowered by it, but then again, I do see there's going to be suffering from it. You see what I mean? Sometimes people act on emotion, and that's good. But sometimes if they regret it, it's not. I know he's the one that should be regretting the way he's treated you. I know he's the one in the wrong. I know that. But since you're so invested in him, I kind of wanted to make sure that you would have a game plan so that, he would be in the palm of your hand, which was possible. I would hate for you to witness the girlfriend and be bittered by it, because that is coming. But at the same time, if you feel you have that empowerment inside you to find a new love, then more power to you, So is there anything else I can help you with this? Angie, anything at all, let me know. I don't mind adding the extra time because, the weight and all of that. Is there anything you need from this? Smart. Like my comeback to you, my reply to you, or my rebuttal to you is that I feel that I agree with you in a logical sense. It's smart to get it over with, take the Band-Aid off and let it scab, and then it can heal. Absolutely. But the problem I see is that it won't play out that way. The problem that I see is that this can delay your love life because the bond is so deep. If it were a short period of the suffering part, I would say, well, gotta weigh pros and cons, get it over with, ride through the storm. The problem is I see multiple storms. So what is the result? You're either going to push yourself to love brand new, which you do hold the key to that deep inside, and push for it and change the outcome. with your free will and completely immerse yourself in just falling for a new person, or rectifying this to see if this can have wings again before she's in the picture, because then that's a different story. Because once she's in the picture, then it's home wrecking, even though they're not married, but it's still breaking a love bond, and that's not okay. But while he's single, it's game, So think about that. Whatever you decide, I would like to see you in a relationship. It's just that I'm seeing that there's multiple storms here. All right, sweetheart. I hope that made sense. And better times will come. Definitely. And in the future, remember those boundaries. They give 5%, you give 5%. And you got to really test them to see what they give you first. Like the little birds. All right, sweetheart. Thank you so much. I wish you good things, sweetheart. This is supposed to be a really good end of the year, so I hope it's good for you. Thank you. My next read is with Jenny or Jennifer. Hey Jennifer, how are you? All right, let me clear some stuff up. So we're gonna do a Hori reading. It's really Hori, but it's spelled horary. You're gonna hear a lot of people say horary. That's a branch of astrology. So you've heard of horoscopes and you've heard of natal chart. So there's natal astrology, where we astrologers study your natal chart and tell you the big picture of your life. You're gonna own a farm, and you're gonna have 3 companies, and you're gonna have 12 children, whatever, right? So like the big picture, that would be really weird life, but anyway, like the big picture, which is the natal astrology. Then there's horoscope astrology, which looks into every year of your life. And then there's many branches, but I'm just saying Hori is one of them. So Hori is a way to consult the astrology like tarot. It's a very unique way of using charts. And you can find missing persons, and you can find, it's very interesting tool for astrologers. Not all astrologers specialize in it. It's kind of unique. But it's a great way to get a different type of reading. And I combine that in the way that I do it is I'll answer a deep question and give you clarity on it using astrology instead of cards. And I also give you a mini horoscope to kind of anchor it on the question. So it'll be like, what's going to happen with this kind of thing? And it's very strong because it's using, planet placements. All right. So I'm going to do that. Now let's address the question about the relationship. So for me to do an analysis on a couple and what their long-term love life looks like together, the milestones they'll reach, if they'll be short-term, if they'll be interrupted by something, if they'll last, all the details. I have to run different types of couples charts. To do couples charts, I have to overlay your natal with his natal and kind of interlock them and read things between them, which is called synastry. But then I also run many other types of techniques as a love astrologer. Another one would be a composite, and then there's many other charts besides those. To do that, I would need, his birth information. So the day, the month, the year, the time, and the location. If you only have month, day, and year, I can grab a nice chunk of that info, not all of it, but I can still tell you a great deal. But you don't have that because you said that his birthday was, you know, in other words, you put like a place marker, you know, just because you didn't know the information. So I only have your natal chart. So in your natal chart, I'm able to tell you who your soulmate is, but I'm not able to tell you what type of soulmate that person is and the story that goes with that love story. You know, if it's comparatively with him, you see? So your soulmate is a Pisces. Yeah. So your soulmate is a Pisces. Now that's going to be okay. Let's look into him now, and let's look into what's going to be unfolded with all of that. Okay, that's what we're going to do next. We're going to do a deep consultation on the longevity of the relationship. Right. So remember, I did tell you not about the T app, but I did tell you that there was some shady things with him. You know, promiscuous and so forth. I don't remember the details of what it was. Maybe a wandering eye. I don't remember now. But yeah, it was shady. I didn't want to rain on your parade, but yes, there were some things. However, if he is is there any way that on the socials you can get his birthday? A lot of times that's public record in some places if he votes and stuff. Just the month, day, and year, you have no clue? Or did you find out after you filled that out? Because if you did, I can put 2 and 2 together and tell you a lot about his life. Oh, you did find it? Okay, yeah, go ahead. Let me know. What is it? What's his birthday? Month, day, year? So I don't know if you could see it, but I'm typing on my laptop here. Okay, and you're sure, right? October 1st of 2002. Okay. Is that what you wrote? October 1st of 2002? Okay. Let's see. You sent me a message. You mean like text? Oh no, I don't get text when I'm streaming. Yeah, because they can interrupt the stream. Yeah. And calls can kill the stream. Yeah, so I just through the chat. Yeah, when I'm not streaming, I check my texts as often as I can. I get a lot of them all day long, but I try to do really good with that. Okay, let's see. It would be wonderful if you knew where he was born, the exact location he was born. That would be amazing, but oh, you did get the information. Oh, I see it now. Okay, October. Okay, then let me do it this way. Yeah, because I guess you got that in the chart. I mean when you filled out the chart, you Yeah, definitely not your soulmate. Definitely not. Yeah, definitely not. So I'm just prepping to do the horary chart. So your soulmate is a Pisces. Have you ever been in love with or married to or engaged or gone out with a Pisces male? And this would be his sun, his moon, or his rising, but we're anchoring on sun or rising. It could be either on any of the three or both. We're looking for in the three identities. Have you ever been with a Pisces? Okay. So one of them could have been the soulmate. Okay, your first and only boyfriend. Okay. It could have been him. I would have to see his chart to see if you're on his chart. Okay. So your soulmate is a Pisces male, and the only way for me to make sure you're, that you were his, he's, for him to be yours, it's not, it can be one way. That's where people get confused. It's basically the love of your life, or the love that changed you, even if you find a love later. It's confusing. That's why I need the whole picture. That's why when I do soulmate readings, it can't be with one person on their own, because it'll confuse them. All I have to tell you, it's a Pisces man. But for me to tell you who it was and whose yours is and how the love is going to go, that's why I do couples readings. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Are you familiar with Goldie Hawn? She's like, I think from my parents' era. But are you familiar with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell? Yeah, I think there's a lag in the chat. That's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna set this up so we can go on with the reading. So my answer for you, as far as the soulmate, is this man your soulmate? No. It's a Pisces. Was it the first one you ever had? If it is, the only way to do it is to do a couples chart on both of you, and then I'll tell you if he is yours, and then I'll see if you are his, because it can be a different connection. I will tell you the outcome, and if that's the case and he was yours, then we're going to see how Venus and the moon and Jupiter announce the next deep love you have. And that's like a whole other thing. If he is not, then it's a Pisces man in the future that you will have the deepest connection with. And that's different outcomes, and that gets into a whole cluster called love astrology, and it's very complicated. But as far as answering the question of this man is not. All right, now that we can move forward, let me go ahead and do the Hori chart to see what's going to unfold with this guy and anything else in that. Let's just see what comes up. All right, let's see. And of course, there's still another part of this reading as well that, that, you know, takes place. But we got to do this part first. All right. And I have to look at, let's see. Do you remember the, let's see. I have to look for the, so this one, the timestamp of when you got the reading. So let's see, 11:58 p.m. All right, here we go. On September 3rd, p.m. Okay, here we go. And this is the chart I'm going to be reading, just for you to get an idea. This is the chart that I'm going to be reading. Okay? All right. So what is the future with you and this man? So the first thing that I see is so the first thing that shows up is in art setting. So this could be the movies or watching a movie or doing something that's maybe creative, artistic. It can be music, restaurant, dancing. I don't know if you have any plans with this man. It can also just be the setting or atmosphere when you speak, the next time you speak, because this talks about confronting and then not really an argument per se, but something that starts dividing you half and half in the way that you think. Like a struggle with the way that you think. So this is after communication. Excuse me, my throat's dry. So this is right after communication. It wouldn't be on the read or talking to other people or reading the app or whatever. This after. So this means you're going to speak, and it's a setting of entertainment. So if you have a chance to, in other words, this is saying that you do see him somewhere. Like I said, it could also be on the phone. Things of entertainment are tricky. It could be him playing a video game. It can be you both playing online. It can be music in the background, or he's sharing something about something he really likes. You get the picture. Most of the time, this is in real life, but we also respect the digital space these days. All right. So that's the first thing that opens the read. And this is an argument that doesn't pop off. It's capped, and there's this like dichotomy in you know the two drastic ways of thinking. So this means you have a conversation that I wouldn't say stimulates an epiphany, but it's something that just is very like, wow, I'm taking in so much right now. Maybe he's a good bullshitter, and he, talks a good talk. Maybe he's manipulative that way. It's possible, because this is a strange beginning to the read. Okay, now the next thing to come is a phase where and a phase could be a couple of days, a couple of weeks, maybe one day. but this is in chronological order, you know, the way that this unfolds. So this is explaining that you're going to be thinking a great deal about wellness. Is this what I want? Does this keep me safe? Is this, you know, like the checklist? This is when a person thinks and thinks and thinks heavily about their choices to keep themselves safe. So their guard is very up. And this means that you're walking on eggshells and you're really kind of like with yourself, because you don't want to step on a tripwire. That kind of thinking, like, I don't want to live through this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go through that. Like on hyper alert of the worry to prevent, very preventative, right? Very cautious. The next thing this talks about is some travel. And by travel, I mean deciding to go someplace new, maybe looking for love. Oh, I'm gonna go out to this new place, or, you know, whatever, I don't know. Just to, you know, like you all of a sudden get the inspiration that you're gonna go across town, or, you know, get dressed up and go here, go there. I don't know. This is adventurous. And this is almost like, it could be that you're invited by a group of people as well. But this is like when you say, yeah, let's just see, you know, let's just see what's out there. So this is good. This is positive. I do see that there's someone in your home life around this time that can heavily weigh down on you. Like, you're getting excited to go somewhere and you can be someone can be really down, and they could bring you down if you kind of, you know, let them, because it is very influential. The next thing that I see here is this is more in the work aspect, because it talks about 3 people and a project with 3 people, and that takes you away from, I guess, the love brain, and it just, lots of work going on at this time, so that's where you're focused. After that, I do see painful memories of the past and trying to date online. I don't know if you do that, but this is here. And it's awkward for you. So running into some kind of awkwardness with online or dating or something uncomfortable. And it doesn't really last long. You try it for a bit. Completion of a project at work successfully. And then this talks about a little bit of unhappiness in the career aspect. You see how the reading is about you and him, but you see how it leaves him and you behind, and it just completely starts to tell the story of your stuff. That means the connection runs cold. That means that the split occurs. That means that conversation, that impression, that whatever it was where you go out, that, you know, split energy that I talked about, it's not just an argument that doesn't happen and then you not really digesting his BS. It just also can be that you split. So this is what I see here, that the split occurs. All right, because everything else is very like one energy, not two. After this phase where there's a heaviness with work, it's weird because I see you missing the old job a little bit, which is so weird to say because it was so toxic. You enjoy where you're at, but there's this little hiccup where I guess you were so used to the routine, or maybe enamored with or gripping tight to maybe with what the job felt like in the beginning when it was good, is what I see here. So you do go through a phase where emotionally you feel, this is all very emotion heavy, which is good, because if it's event heavy, you know, then it's I think more stressful reading. A lot of it is just phases of how you feel. There are some events, obviously, like I said, the travel and the online dating is a choice, and you know, it doesn't have to be that you decide to online date. It can also be that friends open that door, or maybe it's maybe a relative recommends something. You know, I don't know. It just plays out. I don't know how it happens, but I know that that's something, and it's uncomfortable, and it's short-lived. You don't really, and if you're used to doing that, then there's one particular avenue that you try that just doesn't work for you. You don't like it. It's not that it doesn't work, like it's not successful. It just, I don't see that you connect with it. But anyway, moving on, like going to the job part. This is supposed to be just a love reading and future love. But if there's no future love on the horizon at this time in your life, and there's no, you know, in other words, there's no one destined to cross that path when you're there, right? And the connection with the one you're reading about splits, then it's not going to talk about love. Then the reading will continue to talk about other things that unfold in the person's life. And that makes sense. And you can't force a person there, you know? Okay, so after this short phase of maybe 8 hours or so, or even a tops would be like 2 days, it's where, you know, I see that you would be kind of missing what the happy times of your old job. But then, you know, you get with it again, and you just kind of go like that, like, okay, over it. I'm glad I'm here, you know, kind of thing. So it's just short-lived. But there, you know, there's something that sparks the nostalgia. Now, a couple of things here. So your intuition to do something, I don't know what the something is, but we'll get to it. I don't know. Okay, here we go. This is job stuff. Because we're reading on future. And if there's no one set in your future to come in, it's going to talk about other parts of your life, like I said before. Okay, so you're going to be involved with a situation where, this is at work, where you want to solve it in a way that you feel in your gut is going to give you success. Like you really feel like you're just going to be, this is it, I mastered this, like this is my arena, let me just tell you what to do. And you're wrong. I'll tell you why. This is talking about your intuition and your mind pushing you towards something that repeated from the past. And you recall it from intelligence, from memory, from what you know. But this time the outcome is that there's extra circumstances that don't allow you to see an outcome with two people involved in whatever this is. These could be the clients, I don't know, because I see it outside the work culture. So this is usually the client or maybe the owner of the project, whatever. I don't know the details, but they're the people involved with it, but outside the team. And because of that, you have to be very careful, because this can give you a bad experience and a bad impression on someone who's going to be observing you. So when you cross that bridge, maybe the end of the year, maybe the beginning of the new year, some time frame like that, just realize, you know what, you're not sure, and it's not going to repeat the same as the past. So ride that one out so you look good, and you'll see later that you'll go, whew, thank God I didn't say anything. That's what this talks about. Now, and it also talks about instability of mind and opinion from people involved. They'll say one thing and then they mean something else, and then you look bad. don't don't try to shine just yet. You'll have your time, not this. Now, let's see. So I do see that the team you work with or the people, I don't know if it's the higher ups, I don't know the structure, but it talks about the closest to you in what you do. And it goes from 3 people to 7 people, from 3 people to 7 people. There's going to be some setback, not with you, but with a project or a team or something where it causes financial delay and delay on lifting whatever that is off the ground, you know, so to speak. So let's just call it project. I do see an issue with that where they're trying really hard and they have setbacks, and they try again and it's delayed. So that doesn't help things, and that's also heavy. It's going to influence the workflow. Again, this is all happening in sequence within a 3 to 8 month time wave, to give you an idea. Yeah. All right. Some things can play out much later, but this is pretty compact in timing. So I do see someone interested in you from the past. Or at least they might remind you from someone of the past. There's a guy that you meet, and he's either someone you knew many years ago and there was an interest, or he's new, but he reminds you of, at the beginning, you kind of judge a book by its cover, and he reminds you of this guy that we're reading on now, whatever, the Virgo. And the readings to tell you don't make that mistake, because he's not. He actually can harmonize with you very well. So your intuition is very turned off because you read him different and you're not into it, you're not feeling it, but the reading is revealing that, you know, you're wrong in that aspect. I mean, you're not wrong, and you like who you like, it's, you know, but as far as like the potential of that person's intention, this is really real. Very gentle and very insightful, but he's not easily read on the outside. He's a very different creature, but you kind of see him like him. So this means that this guy left you with a little bit of trauma. This one that we're reading on, because you didn't really experience the full brunt of everything bad that happened, or could have, because you're avoiding it, right? By being proactive and not settling with somebody like him. But there's been enough of a bond, and you have such a memory of past things that it just takes very little to add to that fear. And this fear can cost you a really good bond with this guy, who appears to be very different from the beginning. And that also makes you, he doesn't fit the mold of what you're used to and what you like. So he's definitely almost an outlier. Okay, now, this talks about you entering a phase where writing or expression by words, whether it's written, typed, recorded, I don't know if it's a podcast, personal, or if it's a journal or creative writing or whatever, or professionally involved in speeches and presentations. This is an interest in that waking up. It can also be because of this aspect that you just start to love maybe a series of books or content or film or something that has kind of like a documentary journalism type feel to it. That also is slightly possible, but usually this is not about hobby entertainment. Usually this is, you know, what's inspiring you at the moment, because this has been very career heavy. But just in case, I mention all the things when I'm analyzing something, because it plays out in different ways for different people. You know, unless I specify something, that I'm seeing exactly where it's coming from. The next thing that I see is a bit of, so I don't know if you travel to your home where you grew up, or if you're still living in the house you grew up, but this usually talks about, you know, finding things from past, like a brooch or a jewelry box or a keepsake or heirlooms, or, you know, maybe mom is getting rid of something, or sibling or auntie or something. This is important, because this talks about something simple like that opening the door to some, you know, something bigger with maybe like siblings, or you know, maybe an old friend. So we go from the material into the emotional. And so this is revisiting a bond, very important, that brings change and also gives you a new perspective on love. So this is a person that can give you love advice, whoever this is. I do see you being inspired by a female friend. So very interesting. They do have some wisdom to share with you. Hopefully you know them and they're a friend. But it can also be that you just fall really deeply into enjoying content. Maybe it's a creator, maybe it's an author, maybe it's an artist, you know, whatever. But it usually is in the friend area, or a relative that's very friendly, very close, and gives advice. And this is you needing this person, enjoying the feedback and the wisdom they give you. So that's important. And going back, I do see you, you know, entering a journey where you, like a small one within all the things you have going on in your life. But I do see you wanting to add an angle to your work, what you do, which is, you know, like, how should I say, adding a component of like writing, or something that's more descriptive, or something that's done maybe by hand with what you do for work. So this is just a change, a preference change. So maybe it's a technicality. Instead of doing something digital, you might do a piece of it by hand, old-fashioned way. There's something to that that's brought here in this reading. So this is very career. It's got family, friendships, some love. This is very, very career stuff, and it's full circle. I don't see new love as of, you know, this time frame in life. Normally they show up right away. I do see the one person that's very, you know, I forgot the word I used to describe him, but I guess unique. He's very unique. He's not into the, you know, the same type of person that you like. So he's a bit different. Maybe that's why at first you're like, oh, I don't know, you don't fit the type. But yeah, he's very intelligent, very, very intelligent. Yeah. See, you say, let's see. So you said, yes, I feel like I want to do it now, something more stable. Oh yeah, no, but you will. This is all gonna happen. This is all gonna happen. So this is what this is like. So a horary chart is when people love astrology. It gives a very, people that don't understand astrology or they don't know about it, they'll just ask for tarot, which is wonderful too. But people that love to consult the stars and stuff, they love horoscopes and they love horary charts to answer questions on things. So this is the first part of the reading, which is probably about 80% of the read. We have room for a card part if you'd like, because I wasn't able to do the full love component. Just find your soulmate on there, which is a Pisces. But for that story to continue, I have to overlay it over the guy, and you don't have the guy's info. And to do like a deep love dive reading would take a long time, like an hour or so, and different analysis. But yes, it was Pisces, which is the most important. And the fact that this other guy is not it. So that's gives clarity right there. This reading is pretty good because it gives you what's coming, and it's very career heavy. What I can tell you is that you are, from what I see here, based on what you've already lived through love-wise in your love history, you didn't really need this guy, because this guy just kind of woke up all these new worries and things, and you liked him so much, and now you're seeing such a different side. And then there was this intuitive side that was pushing you to find out more, but then your logical side was like, no, he's so charming and it's really wonderful. And then it was like this 360, and yeah, it's a lot. And because of what you've been through and how you are, this kind of left a little mark, because you didn't need this. You were believing and you didn't. So now you're like, oh my God, now I really can't believe what, like, I have to be really careful. Oh my God, like I got to be twice as zoomed in on what to look for the next time. So it does show the fear. It does show the fear. And it does show, that you're looking for a certain type. There's nothing wrong with that. But you do miss a good potential connection. But you will meet him at the right time. You'll know when it's him, because there's attraction. And you'll see that he has it towards you. And you'll see he's very intelligent, and you'll feel a little weird by it because he's not your type, but you're not sure, and you're not trusting. Your wall is up, and nobody with their wall up is friendly and nice and wants to go on a date. Nobody. They're it's kind of like they want to, but they don't want to. And of course, this experience you're going to have with the split with this guy, pretty intense. It forms the main part of the reading. So yeah, that's for the love stuff. I don't see anyone new after that other guy for now. That doesn't mean forever, obviously. But it means like for now. So based on this, and then a lot of different career things, ups and downs with it emotionally, I don't see anything to be worried about or stressed. The only thing I thought a little odd was, just the work thing that I talked about you don't want to, right now you don't want to overstep bounds, or whatever you were saying, but there's going to be a moment in the future where you really want to, you feel comfortable enough to want to convey your thoughts and your ideas, and the reading is saying don't, because you can look bad and it's not going to fit, because there's two things you're not aware of. So your solution to the problem is excellent, but you think it's only linear and it's what you're seeing, and the reading is showing that there's more involved that you're not aware of, and then you'll feel like, well, why didn't you tell me that? I wouldn't have said this if you didn't tell me that. One of those things. That's the only thing that I see. Other than that, I don't see a problem in the read itself. Nothing too concerning. Now, that being said, since we weren't being able to do the love part, what question do you have? Maybe we could do like a tarot on something. Let me see. No, that's okay. No, you don't have to. No. So this was, let me see something. One second. One little second here. Not at all, not at all. I just want to, so I usually do the horary question answered. You know, and the horary question is, you know, what's going to happen with both of you? And I see a split. And then I see a little bit of like stressful, traumatized over this situation because of the trusting. And I see that there's a guy, you know, like that's how I would answer the horary question, which that's clearly came up. And then we went into the horoscope stuff, which instead of talking a lot about love, it was more career. That's fine. And now we can take a tarot session on that and include it. You don't have to pay anything extra. No, you're fine. No, I'm happy to do so. So go ahead and let me know your questions about your job. Okay. Okay, not a problem. How would you like me to? Well, in general, I think I talked to you last time. I said, you know, being too trusting is not good. It's important to be friendly and have good public relations and to network. It's very important, but it's also extremely important to keep things at bay and be very wise because I don't know, like your work hat is your work hat. So like when I work in my company, you know, my psychic business, I'm also an illustrator. I'm very professional, so I'm friendly, but you know, I don't like I'm very private with everything, you know, like I'm very reserved and I just don't, you know. But I'm also very friendly and very professional and I don't mix, you know, and I'm also like the way that I present my things, you know, so all I'm saying, people have to have, you know, yeah. And when Pisces sun, Pisces rising, usually it's extremely friendly. Moon as well, but not as much. You know, especially on the rising of the sun, you know, extremely friendly. And sometimes those lines can, oh, you know, let's just go have coffee. Oh, you're my friend now. And it's like, it's very heartwarming and very sweet. And then also sharing too much about yourself. You don't mean it. It's just, you know, natural, but then it can come back because people at work, no matter how nice they are, it's work. There's got to be that limit. Okay, so the stuff you're bringing up today is important. The stuff you're bringing up today are your inner emotions. They haven't happened yet in occurrence. It's just something that you inside, you have ideas that you want to bring to the table. You want more help. You want to vocalize what you feel. You want to take that leadership position and say, hey, I suggest this, I would like this, and you want to vocalize it. Nothing wrong with that. You're a new member of the team. We're going to look into that, how you should exercise and voice that. But the part I was referring to with the part about there's going to be a time where you'll know if I had to time it, maybe December. It depends on when you split with this guy, because usually the timing of the question sequences the rest in the way I overlay the horoscope. But if I had to like give a kind of a guesstimate, not 100%, because I'm not doing a timeline on it, but it is within proximity. I think December, it would be a time where that's when I see that they say, hey, we're going to do this. And you're like, oh, I know how to do that. I used to do that all the time. Yeah, no, you do it like this. And then they're like, oh, really? Oh, no, hey, no, she says she's got it. You know, it's in the bag. Let's just do it her way. Yeah, I can do it. I have like 3 years experience on it. And then when you go do it, it doesn't work. And then you're embarrassed. And then you find out later, oh, it wasn't my fault. You people didn't tell me about this and this. Well, we didn't know you had to know that. Well, yeah, because it fluctuates, but then it's too late. So the reading is saying, don't get involved. But it has nothing to do with the things you want to ask for in your position. So we will look into that. So let's do that first. All right, let's talk about the boss and vocalizing some of the needs that you have. Yeah. It's not recommended. The boss will feel weird about your suggestions. Weird because they will think you expect, they will not know how to understand where you're coming from. You're just intelligent, a natural leader, and the place you were at a different office culture. They don't have that there, so he'll be like, that was weird. No, it's not. It's normal, but you're just used to your droids. And it also talks about gossip from the office, saying that, or not the office, but like the rest of somewhere in there, it talks about gossip, like you're trying to kiss up, or maybe you're trying to be inappropriate, and it's not advised, unfortunately, which is kind of crazy because you're asking for something that makes so much sense. You want another team member to make your job easier. Nothing wrong with that, but I see that it's not a good move. Yeah, that's probably true. I didn't see that he doesn't like her, but I see that you would not be liked if you were to show them that side of you. They just want you to plug in and do your stuff. And unfortunately, it shouldn't be that way. Besides my regular degree, I also have one in professional leadership. And to me, one of the ways to really, really shine in leadership is to bring people together and let them show the talent they have and let them use it. If there's someone gifted in something, you make them use it. It makes the team better. So I just don't see why they would want to keep it. That's even worse than laissez-faire, where you do things, let people figure it out. That's even worse. That means that he's just authoritarian and he just wants to keep things mundane. And I don't agree with that, but what can I tell you? Okay, now, so be more aware of an observer. What do you mean? You kind of lost me on that. I don't know what you mean by that. Okay, how can you move up in the future? Yeah, no, of course. No, I know you don't. It's almost like this career stuff that you're feeling. I see, okay, this is what I see. Are you ready? This is the best way I can explain it. Let's just use two visuals. This is the job you had. This is the job that you are now in. This is the new one. So we're going to make it a little bit higher than this one because this is better. This one had a lot of gossip and rude and corrupted people that just absolutely verbally slammed you and were acting horribly. And this is a neutral place. There's no issue there. However, I see that this one doesn't have in it, at least for a good year and a half, I don't see that this blossoming, it's going to be this great place that you can be yourself and all the ideas you had in the here, you can plug into here. I don't see that. I see that this is a positive one because of money, stability, and the neutrality in the office culture. I see this as toxic, but I see it as positive as far as you can be you. You can voice certain things and you can do certain things and they'll bitch at you, but it's different. You can still get away with a lot of things, but it held you down because of the rudeness. But if you think that this one is the one that you can be free and open and thrive, I don't see that yet. I see you're just in a place where there's stability and there's no negativity per se. And that's the positive right now. I see that if you want more, you're going to have to wait if that's where you're going to settle and make your home, your work home, you know, because I just don't see that that's going to be the place where you do that yet. All right, if that helps any. I hope that makes sense. That's the long-term outlook on what I see. Let's see. Yeah, but the problem is when you try to improve it, they'll turn on you. That's what I'm seeing. I will see that the boss will take your suggestions with suspicion. And I see that the other people noticing that you want to come in and improve it will think of you as distrusting. I see it will cause harm. You would think, oh my God, I have all these skills. This is perfect. I was meant for this position. Are you kidding me? I can make this amazing and everybody's life better. And they're going, we don't need to be changed. They're stuck in their old ways for a reason because they're all a bunch of knuckleheads or they would have evolved. So I think that if you want to thrive in that way, you're barking up the wrong tree with this place, at least for a year and a half. That's what I can tell you. Now you're free to do as you please. This is just a reading. You know, I'm just telling you what I see. I don't expect you to, you know, believe me or anything like that. I get that. I understand that, and I respect that too because you know you don't know me well. But I just want to spare you the issues. You can put little pieces to the test if you decide to take baby steps so that you don't you went through a long, hard journey to have a fresh new path. I would hate to see it ruined and become toxic. So at the end of the day, because you're creative, because you're very leadership, because you have so much to offer, it's almost a shame you don't have your own firm, because that's really something that then the sky's the limit, really, you know. Either look for a place that does need that part of you, or make a decision within yourself and say to yourself, you know, this place, what a shame that it doesn't let me shine, but at the same time, I have peace of mind here. And when you go home stress-free. I mean, a little bit of stress from work, but you go home stress-free and you don't live the chaos that you had, you know? it's a shame. Yeah, it's a shame that you would think how stupid. Here you are, what an asset. But that's the world we live in. We live in a world where a moron that decides to, I don't know, make like slime with jello will have millions and millions of followers. But a genius poet or a person doing incredible things with intelligence, enriching people's lives, they'll get like 6 likes. Because people don't, most of the world doesn't see brilliance. It's the way it is. It's what's trendy, what's stupid, what's moronic. That's the most people are not highly intelligent, you know. So I'm sorry that you're in a company that doesn't see the diamond that you are. There are places that will see it. In due time, you will see this company has incredible changes. Are you willing to, look, you have one life, right? Take care of it. Take care of your wellness, your well-being, your happiness, your safety. Think about what you want in life. Everybody wants to shine in their career, but does it cost them sleeping at night? Does it cost them the stress? It's almost like give to take or take to give. At the end of the day, a no drama life is a platinum life. If you're not being given the money that you deserve for the amount of stress and pressure, is it worth it? Because that's a day in your life. Wouldn't you rather be on a beach eating grapes or reading a book or falling in love or enjoying a rainstorm or whatever the hell, instead of getting an ulcer over a dumbass company that can't even, no, just do what you do, make your money, keep your eyes open for new opportunities where you can shine, and don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat. That's my suggestion. It's hard. It's hard because you're intelligent, and I do see the future where you will enter, in my reading, it shows you will enter a time where you feel comfortable with these people. I see it. I see that you're slowly going to be more and more at ease, which is what you wanted when you were living in chaos. But there's a danger, because when you see today, you're new still. You're still the new kid on the block. But in the future, you're going to be more comfortable. Yeah, if you rock the boat, the worst thing that can happen is you'll learn from it. Let's play the worst scenario. Let's say that you do it. Let's say that you go ahead and you do it. The worst case is that you'll learn from it and you'll leave and find a new place. But at the same time, how many start overs do you want to have? All you have to do is have a conversation with your future self and ask your future self. If you're 20, ask your 30-year-old self. If you're 30, ask your 40-year-old self, and so on and so forth. And, ask her in the future, you want to look back and have what result? And whatever that is, do that. And give yourself mental peace. Let me see something a minute. I felt bad that you didn't know your love partner's information, so I couldn't give you like that love stuff. Let me see if I can look at something in your natal chart a minute, okay? Give me a second. Let me see what I can pick at. The reading finished. You've gotten all your information, but let me go ahead and see if I can look at some of your natal chart. It takes a while to read the natal chart. I usually ask for a couple of days because I have so many, and I write a lot of notes, and But let me go ahead and give it a whirl and see what I can see right away with your natal chart, combing it for your career. Let's see, because you can read the chart in many ways. Let's see. I'm going to be looking for vocational stuff. Okay. So your sun sign is showing a great deal of yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. You don't want to leave the job. Yeah, you don't want to leave the job. Yeah, yeah, it's peaceful. It's peaceful. It's full of morons and you know how to do it better. But if you get there and you tell yourself you're there to get yourself your pay and your good life and stress free, but you're not going to get sucked in the I want to shine and make it better. That's your heart being sweet and kind and loving and putting your effort into everything. You put that wall up, you'll live happier. At the same time, you do deserve a place in the future, because here you feel comfortable. But you do deserve a place in the future where you do thrive and shine because you have so much to offer. But this is not that timing. It could also be this company as well, because I do see they're going to go through massive changes and problems in the future in the higher up area. There's going to be something there. Okay, let me see something here. So I do see that when you know, looking at your career and your chart, I see that you do have a very big talent when you set your mind to something and you wish for it and wish for it and wish for it and wish for it and plug it in and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, you accomplish it. You have a very strong trine. You have a very strong grand trine, which is a gift. And it talks a great deal about that. When you set your mind to it, you're also naturally surrounded by luck. Penetrate a situation. Very interesting. The thing is that a weakness that it seems that you have is forming boundaries. Like when you want to help so much, it takes of yourself. And then you don't know how to like stop that. And then if you give your all, you're not treated with the fairness. So let's say that you know you're invited very sweetly to help with something, and you barely eat, you barely have enough time to bathe and brush your teeth and comb your hair, and you're working overtime without the pay, and you're putting all this effort, and you're doing it with all this care and love to be helpful. This is hypothetical. And then at the end of the day, you get a thank you, but it wasn't that much, and it wasn't what you felt you would get in compensation. And then at the end, you're like, well, why did I do that? Like, why do I do that? Why do I help a friend so much? Why do I help? You plug so much of yourself. You have to be careful of that, because this also talks about being extremely sensitive when someone mistreats you emotionally as well. So there's a lot of things like that play the role in the career, but just in general as well, like a special vulnerability. Let me see. sometimes you can, there is a headstrong way of being, not like a bully, but, you know, like a superior, headstrong, strength of character, temper, you know, I want it done this way. And it talks about when you go defend something from the heart, you could run into situations where you could deal with someone who's dark and vindictive. It talks about, you know, being aware at some point in your life there could be some you know, a confrontation with somebody, and you don't think that person's gonna be, you know, violent or whatever, and they can be. So, you know, because that's not something you would think about, because words just with words, but this person, you know, yeah, it's a warning about being very careful with big conflicts with people. Yeah. So, like, for example, if you rally or do things for human rights, or which is very beautiful, anything that's like defending something or getting involved with something that's very emotional, you got to be careful with that kind of thing, because yeah, every time you're very impulsive and headstrong and stuff, which is beautiful to be that way, but there could be a danger with somebody who, you know, it also talks about the danger of being, you know, in prison for a little while, or like, I say in prison, you know, sounds drastic. It just means like, you know, like a night in jail or something like that, getting in trouble in some way, maybe like, you know, you gotta, usually it just happens once in the lifetime, like maybe as a teenager or maybe like an adult or something. But it is a danger here. It's not exactly in career, but it's like in the vocational zone. It doesn't mean in your job, it's in the natal. I'm looking for work stuff, but this does kind of dance around between personal life and work. So there could be something that could land into, you know, sometimes it's a lawsuit, but sometimes it's, you know, maybe it's because of anger or something like that. You gotta be careful with that. Have you ever gotten in trouble or been arrested or anything like that? So, warning on a really bad confrontation with someone, a very big conflict with someone who's very vindictive, and warning on being careful, you know, that you don't. Okay, I figured, because, you know, it sounds such a weird thing, because, you know, you're a professional and you're sweet and it doesn't sound like you, but things are, life is weird, very, very mysterious, and it is in the destiny. It talks about being very careful that you know, you don't get involved with something that could be illegal. Maybe you don't know it. You're there like innocently, and all of a sudden, like, a friend invites you to, hey, you want to buy so and so shares, or you want to do this, and you it sounds all right to you because you're very smart, so it would have to be something that you really do innocently. It could be something like that, or maybe you know, maybe it's due to a quarrel. But yeah, no, it does say it. Is it be careful with the endeavors of trust. Do you know it all comes from not you? It all comes from trust. Trust. No, I didn't mean to scare you. No, you have a lot of beautiful things. Don't worry about that. It's just all this is about is trusting too much. That's all it is. It's just trusting too much, and also being very passionate in the way that you, you know, you gotta. I love the Aquarian temper. I think it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite signs. Not afraid to voice what they love, but Yeah, you got to be careful because there's a lot of hotheads out there, road rage, nuts, you know. No, don't stress out. Just in your life, be very aware that you can't just trust someone blindly like that. Like, oh, I've known them 8 years, they're my friend. No, no. Like, if it's signing a paper or adding your name to something or being involved and you think, yo, here's my email address, or that's where the downfall, the warning is. It's on the trust. It's on the trust, and it's the person that you least expect. So, but honestly, you have a lot of good things protecting you anyway. So chances are when this plays out, it will be very small or something. You'll be all right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I realize sometimes when I read astrology, people are very sensitive and they get stressed and worried. I didn't mean to do that to you. I'm sorry. I'll stick to happy stuff. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so you have do you read things? Do you read tarot, or you know, are you connected to the spirit world or anything interesting like that? Anything extra spiritual about you? Okay, okay. All right. At one point in your life, your career, something that you're working on in your career fails. Bad. And then later, it lifts. For example, people with this sign that you have, they, if you studied something in college, yeah, if you studied something in college, well, in your particular case, if you're an engineer, what you studied, obviously that's what you practice because it's a licensed field. So what you studied is what you do. But there could be something at some point in your field where you try to embark on it and it's a very big interruption. Oh, okay, yeah. I was just asking that because you are very spiritual. And at some point you will flourish with that in some way. Maybe you'll just be comfortable with maybe your dreams or something like that. Now, one thing, let's talk here about a very important area in your chart with your career. There's an interruption to your career at some point. So have you had that yet? Have you lived through it yet? Where you tried for many years to go in one direction and it fails. Maybe it was the company you just left. If it would have to be something that you put a great deal of effort into your life in that field, a great deal of it. Oh, hi, I didn't see you. It would have to be that you would have put a very big amount of effort and it just died and you had to take another direction. It could be the place you're leaving. Nope, it wouldn't be that. Because in college, that was just classes. Okay, that means it's coming at some point in your life. Maybe 8 to 10 years from now. Oh, okay. So you were doing electrical engineering and now you're doing mechanical, or you're doing roads, or what? Like What do you mean? Anyway, all I'm trying to tell you is there's a sign in this chart, career, indicating that a person puts a lot of years into one field or one company or one direction, and they feel that it's for life when they're doing it. And something happens like big, like a pandemic, or like a lot of people experience that with COVID, where they just change fields. I'm just giving you an example, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, something big, like the company goes under, or you leave the country, or, you know, something like that. Oh, my last job was electrical and now it's plastics, like so different. I know or anything about it. Oh, I don't know anything about it, like plastic share. I got you. That could have been it. How many years did you put in the electrical? Because this planet you have here is all about a person going in one direction and boom, almost like within a span of a week or two, total new direction in their life. That it talks about that in the career, but it sounds like you already lived through it. That would have been the difference. Yeah. If you put many years into electrical and now you're into like plastics, definitely. Okay. I see. Yeah. Yeah. That was destiny, because it says so in your chart. It's when a person goes from